The Senate has finally concluded the confirmation hearing of the 36 ministerial nominees. I am Linda Akibe, and you're welcome to the gavel. The screening of the 36 ministerial nominees took nearly 3 weeks and captured the attention of many Nigerians. Nigerians closely monitored the proceedings and flooded the social media with observations on the questions by lawmakers and the responses by the ministerial nominees and the drama that played out. And there was some drama, especially on the day that the Senate confirmed the former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amaechi as minister. So let's jump right into it and look at what went down when the Senate confirmed Mr. Rotimi Amaechi and the other ministerial nominees. It's a process that has taken nearly 3 weeks. The confirmation hearing of the 36 ministerial nominees. The Senate had earlier approved and confirmed the first batch of 18 ministerial nominees. But one ministerial nominee has from the beginning threatened to set the two political parties in the Senate on a collision course. The nomination of the former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amaechi has very visibly split the Senate across party lines. On the day he was screened, PDP senators refused to ask him any questions. The controversy over his nomination reached a crescendo on the final day of confirmation of the remaining ministerial nominees. At the continuation of the confirmation hearing, the Senate President began calling out the names of the nominees for confirmation.
Would the Senate confirm Barrister Adebayo Shitu as Minister of the Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
When he got to the turn of Mr. Amaechi, the Senate President asked the chairman of the Committee on Ethics to present the report on a petition against Mr. Amaechi.
Recommendation following from the discovery that the matter before the Senate is actually before a competent court of law. The committee accordingly recommends as follows. A, that since the ministerial nominee had gone to the Court of Appeal to challenge the content of the petitions and the white paper of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, the Senate is unable to recommend the consideration of his confirmation.
But it was clear that the ruling APC was not in favor of the recommendation of the committee.
Since a matter is already a subject of litigation in a competent court of law, and since the Senate could not work contrary to its own rules, that is Order 41-7, it is constrained in taking any further action. Now let this be the recommendation so accepted. I so move.
Senators from the two parties were divided over the recommendation of the committee.
The report that was laid here was worthy of allegations. Allegations on corruptions, allegations on sales of public assets, mismanagement of funds, and above all, in funding these issues. Will be recaptured in future.
Order 53.5 provides that reference shall not be made to any matter on which a judicial decision is pending in such a way as might, in the opinion of the President of the Senate, prejudice the interest of the parties thereto. If a matter was pending and we did not know, and this matter was made known at the committee level, the committee should have been guided to come here and tell us that we have an obligation under Section 147, which I may also read, Mr. President, to approve a ministerial nominee. Let me read Section 147 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which
When it appeared that the opposition had seen the handwriting on the wall, all but the Deputy Senate President staged a walkout. From then on, it was a smooth ride for Mr. Rotimi Amaechi.
I now put the question first on the report that the Senate, those in favor of the no, we can just reject. Those in favor of the recommendation of the report say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. The report of the Senate Committee on Ethics is hereby rejected. Senate, those in favor that Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi is approved as appointment as Minister of the Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi is appointed as the Minister of the Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
At the end of the day, the Senate confirmed all 18 ministerial nominees. In the coming days, it would be interesting to see if the impasse between lawmakers in the PDP and APC would end with this issue or would affect the relationship of the two major political parties in the Senate. The Senate set aside October 27th and 28th to conclude the confirmation hearing of the ministerial nominees. The first nominee to appear was Professor Adewale Folorunsho. He spent over an hour before the lawmakers and answered questions on education and health.
We are dealing with a situation characterized by lack of morale. We are dealing with a situation characterized by the dilapidated infrastructure. We need to put money in education. We need to recognize education as a vital tool to promote not only economy, but this nation's development. And that is what we have to do. We really need to follow through and make sure that the universities are well funded, the staff are well motivated, and I can assure you, being part of this system, that our universities will deliver.
Eventually, he was told to bow and go. The next nominee that generated such interest was Zainab Ahmed, and she was taking up on her knowledge of the Nigerian oil sector and the issue of leakages in the system.
The NNPC employs crude oil swaps, oil processing arrangements to provide fuel that we need in country. These are very major areas of leakages that I'm glad that the GMD NNPC has started looking at.
The other nominees also appeared, took their turns and left the chamber.
Seats are given the same day.
The atmosphere in the chamber, however, changed dramatically when the last nominee was on the stand. It was clear there was trouble when the minority leader rose, demanding an apology from the nominee.
So for the nominee to stand in front of us and mention names of senators who traversed the political terrain in Cross River State together. And somebody jokingly said, we're under the PDP. He said, God forbid. We take exception to that. For somebody who has served under a PDP administration, benefited from it, I don't think it should insult the PDP by coming to stand in front of us to say, God forbid. God cannot forbid 16 years of leadership in this country, whether there were mistakes or not. God cannot forbid. Mr. Chairman, I'm addressing you because I know that even you as the chairman, you benefited from the PDP as governor of Kwara State for 8 years. And I also benefited from PDP as governor of Akwa Ibom State for 8 years.
Is noted, nominee.
Profoundly sorry.
This did not help, as PDP senators kept interrupting his remarks with points of orders that the Senate President ruled out of order. The nominee eventually completed his turn and was allowed to leave. The following day, the remaining 5 ministerial nominees appeared before the Senate and were questioned by federal lawmakers. They answered questions on the economy, education, and security.
Foreign exchange management is one of the monetary policies that a country has available to it to use. Like all such things, you have to weigh what I call the different factors at work in foreign exchange management. On the one hand, For those that want to see a currency that is weaker, what they are saying is that, like, if you weaken your currency, then it is easier for you to, create export, an export environment. However, you have to create all the enabling environment to export.
I took a cursory look at the manifesto of the APC government, and two serious things struck me in that manifesto. The one is the school feeding program, school meal program. And the second one is to involve parents and community in primary school education. And that is where our emphasis on language and culture should take place.
But two ministerial nominees enjoyed the privilege of not being grilled thoroughly, but were asked to take a bow and go.
Because we are a gender-sensitive chamber, and the mood is that there are only 6 women amongst the 36 nominees, I wish to ask this distinguished Senate and Senator Gobil, who brought all the petitions and has withdrawn them, to kindly ask the Senate to allow her to take a bow. Thank you very much.